Cancer. Gone. Kräft. It's probably the scariest medical word, no matter what country or language you're speaking. And if you're anything like I was, you probably think that this is never going to happen to you. Until it does. In this video, I will go over how I discovered that I had cancer, the symptoms, signs, and the final nail in the coffin when my doctor finally told me, Mr. Kopperud, you have Hodgkin's lymphoma. I am lucky with my type of cancer, but the earlier you get it diagnosed, the better your chances are. So let's just get into it. If you were to ask me what my first symptom or when my first symptom started, the exact date, I couldn't really tell you because I didn't think it was a symptom at first. I just thought it was a regular rash that come and go. And it wasn't until it had gone on for 3 weeks that things started to go up for me then. Oh, okay. That's not something I'm used to. So it started out in my legs at first. I would get a itching sensation that just wouldn't stop. I would itch back, that just made it worse. It would get so bad that I would break open my skin with my fingernails just because the pain was a relief from the itching, which is so bad. It's why did I do that? I am going to have scars on my legs for the rest of my life because it got so bad. My legs looked like Swiss cheese at some point. It was not fun. This first symptom was 2 years ago, which means that I have had cancer for at least 2 years without knowing about it. Yay me! No. If you learn anything from this video, and I am going to have many examples, is listen to your body and don't downplay your symptoms if you get them. I am a idiotic optimist, which means that I am too easygoing and too free to just let things go. It's like, okay, so this is life now. Okay, I'm itching. Okay, sure, whatever. During these 2 years, I experienced fatigue. I experienced random bursts of pain in my chest and my stomach, heartburn, or what I thought was heartburn, just at the randomest times. I'm 24 years old. I was relatively active. I shouldn't be feeling like I was doing, but again, I thought little of it. I have just come back from spending 1 year in Japan, and I'd recently gotten a job, so a lot of things were happening in my life. And at first everything was going well. I was energetic, I was optimistic, I was doing my job well, I was being my normal self. This lasted for half a year until suddenly I realized from my boss telling me that, is everything going okay? It's like, I've noticed that you've lost your passion, you lost your fire. In the beginning you would do this and this and this with no problem, but now you don't have energy anymore, you don't look like you enjoy being here. I didn't think much of it. I thought I was just having a burnout from work and a lot of other things going on in my life at that time. I didn't really think of it or realize it was a symptom until much later. A few months ago actually, until we started to hone in on the cancer diagnosis. At the time, my doctor was focusing mostly on the rash because that was for a long time the only symptom. So we thought this was a skin sickness, which means that all the blood tests and all the dermatologists and everything that my doctor referred me to was focusing on the skin, which meant that we didn't really get anywhere. I got medications, I got skin creams, I got dietary options. I was told that I was lacking in some vitamins, so we tried a lot of things that never worked. I would get a medication that would relieve the itching for a little while, and then the itching would just find a way around it, and it was all back to zero. We tested for common illnesses, we tested for scabs, we tested for hives, we even tested for STDs, just to have that box checked too. It wasn't actually until about half a year ago that the symptoms really started to amp up. We are now 1.5 years in with the itching, no results. Suddenly I was experiencing night sweats, which I've never done before. It was summer, so my brain naturally went to that, oh, this must be a really hot summer. even though I'm waking up to drenched beddings and I have to put a towel under me and I have to flip my foot on. Yeah, that's a normal hot summer, right? I also was at this point experiencing severe insomnia. I would not be able to fall asleep. I'm usually really good at falling asleep. I can fall asleep in 5 minutes. Suddenly that ability was taken away from me. I would be up until 3-4 a.m, finally fall asleep, 2 hours, wake up again, struggle to fall asleep, 1 more hour. My watch said, hey, you know you're supposed to get 8 hours, right? It was awful. Oh my god. You don't know how much you appreciate sleep until it's taken away from you. But again, I contributed this to work. I was so sure that this was accepted. At this point, I was not happy with my workplace anymore. I woke up, went to a job that didn't give me any sense of fulfillment or anything. I did tasks that didn't give me any joy. So yeah, no, I thought that, yeah, of course I'm having sleep problems because my job is giving me stress. Self-diagnosis. It wasn't until in November of 2022, finally decided to go back to Japan after the country opened up again. After 2 years of not being there, I had a packed full schedule. People I wanted to meet, places I wanted to go, food I wanted to eat, 3 weeks of joy. Only one problem was that 3 weeks prior I'd gotten a cold. I'm pretty good at it, yeah. I don't have the best immune system, so 2 weeks is like a pretty common time for me to get a cold during the winter months. You know, that didn't go away. I was coughing and coughing and coughing so bad. My poor neighbor was worried about me because I was coughing at like midnight and just woke up coughing. It had gotten better by the time I went to Japan. Still not good. So the entire trip was spent coughing. It didn't get better. I get my night sweats back in Japan. I continue the coughing. I had chest pains and stomach pains, and I come back to Norway. I live my life normally again. I return to work. We celebrate Christmas. January, I look in the mirror. I was like, huh? Wait a minute. Am I supposed to have a bump? No, it's not on the other side. So I have a bump. This is weird. Okay, finally I used my brain. It's like, oh, that's not supposed to be there. So I searched it up and then I've learned about the lymph system. Well, I knew about the lymph system, but I learned about swollen lymph nodes. I've never had them before, so this was new to me. And I was like, okay, so your body has a lymph system that helps regulate your immune system, okay? And sometimes infections can cause swollen lymph nodes. Okay, so I have an infection. But do visit a doctor if it lasts for more than 2 weeks. And finally, I actually do as the webpage says. 2 weeks goes by, the swelling has not stopped. I'm still experiencing severe insomnia at this point. I have the same itching. I have night sweats have calmed down a little bit. So I call my doctor and he says, oh, can you come down as soon as possible just so I can check it out? I go down, he checks it out a little bit. He orders up a PET scan and a ultrasound. I go take them. They show something, but I mean, they are not the accurate of scans. So my doctor also orders up a PET CT scan. PET CT is where they give you an injection of radioactive sugar, because cancer loves sugar apparently. And radiation shows up in the CT scan, lights up like a Christmas tree. So I go in, I get the PET CT taken the day after. My doctor calls me up again. Usually it takes about a week to 2 weeks before you get like results if it's nothing to worry about. So when my doctor called me the day after, I was like, oh, okay. So it's not just a sore throat. I go down to my doctor just after closing, which is reassuring. He sits me down and then he says, we found something on your pictures. We don't know for certain yet. This can be many things, but I am going to have you referred to a lymphoma expert. Like, do you know what lymphoma is? And I didn't at this point. I was like, no. I said, we don't know yet, but lymphoma is a blood cancer. Wait, you used the C word. Wait, cancer? Wait, what? Wait, I'm young, healthy, wild and free. I'm not supposed to have cancer. So my doctor's orders up the next few appointments. I go out from the doctor's office and I just search up Hodgkin's lymphoma just to quickly learn about it and the symptoms, and I was like, oh wait, yes, night sweats, yes, oh, lump under my chest, yes, oh, uncontrolled itching, yeah. It's like I go down the list and it's like, oh yeah, I had that, I had that, I had that, I had that. Like, I think 9 out of 10 symptoms I have experienced so far. And I call up my mom and tell her that, yeah, I went to the doctor today, as we all knew, because she's been updated the entire way through this. He said this word, he doesn't know yet, but this can be lymphoma. Oh! Same thing as your biological father has. Oh. Of course! You had to say that, didn't you? At that point, we all knew. I didn't get my final diagnosis until about 1.5 months later. I went to get a biopsy, I went to get a scan, but we all knew. What else could it be? So I thought, okay, it's easily curable. Mine is stage 4, so of course if you know anything about cancer, the higher the stages, the worse your prognosis is, because stage 4 means that it's everywhere. My entire lymph system is swollen, I guess, but even at stage 4, it's decent numbers. But yeah, for 1.5 months I was kinda acting like it's nothing, and for sometimes I was also thinking that it was nothing. It's not until after I started chemo I realized a little bit more of the severity. Mostly it's cancer. You don't feel cancer except for the symptoms. There's no indication. It's not painful in a way. The painful part is the chemo, so it's curing the cancer that's painful. So yeah, that is my cancer journey. That is how I discovered that I had stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma, blood cancer that affects the lymph system. If you've taken anything from this video, it's treat your symptoms properly. Don't self-medicate, don't self-diagnose, don't think. Literally, symptoms are your body telling you that you're sick. It's your body can't speak to you, so it has to find different ways around it. And the more serious, especially when 2 and 3 symptoms start to come, when it piles up, you should talk to a doctor. It's not normal. Like, one symptom in isolation can just mean an infection or something easy. A swollen lymph node, for example, doesn't necessarily mean that you have lymphoma. It can just be that your body fights off a virus. But once you have swollen lymph nodes, night sweats, and then something else, then that's not how it's supposed to be. And if you are watching this video worried now, I don't want to worry people, but at the same time I want people to not make the same mistake that I did. I'm still sure, 100% sure that I'm gonna get through this, but if we discovered this earlier, I wouldn't have had to go through such a harsh treatment that I am doing right now. I don't wish that upon anybody. If you can find it as soon as possible, then that's perfect. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed watching, I would really appreciate if you could like it. Also comment if you have any questions or something you wonder about. I am going to try and answer as much as possible. If you are going through the same and or maybe suspect something, or you know somebody that's going through the same and you're wondering about this and that, I am kind of an expert at this point. Or if it's something I don't know, I have access to doctors and people that have a lot of knowledge. So I hope you use it for what it's worth. And if you want to continue on this journey with me, subscribe. I always want to end these videos on a high note, which is that this is a sad channel in a way because it's cancer, but it's also like an optimistic, like, oh, I'm going to get through this kind of thing. And hopefully in the future go to Japan. Come on, yeah, let's go. No. But that's the dream, right? If anything good comes out of this, then learning to do YouTube and then traveling to Japan. I just have to say it. It's not a part of the video, it's just my dream. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Until the next video, goodbye.